heart of high school wrestling is here in Adams County, and nobody covers it like WZBD.
You guys got a heck of a view.
It's time for Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Everybody wants to be there.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
90 minutes of interviews, results, discussions, and prognostications.
I'm excited.
As Hall of Famer Rex Brewer and Dane Filling bring you another episode.
We hope that you can join us here
Live from
The Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille.
on Channel Z.
I'm excited.
92.7 FM.
Welcome once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another episode of Week 2 of the Haggard, Hirschy, Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted always by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. And tonight's special, wings as always on Sunday night, and they have a new burger called the Curd Burger with
that sounds
has
good.
cheese curds and some gravy on it. So I think that's my meal for the way home tonight, Dane.
Now, somehow wrestling interfered with my Friday hospitality dinner. My daughter really wanted to go to the Adams Central game, so I dropped young August off with Coach Maki, and he and Gus got things set up at the Adams Central game, and they went to hospitality while I sat and waited for the Belmont practice to finish, and then I showed up. So I got up there, and there was not a soul in that box. It was just me and Ed. That was it. Just me and Ed Hirschy. Everybody else was off eating roast beef sandwiches and everything else. I guess Gus doubled back and went back in line, you know.
You know, Dane, I'm like to think I'm a good father, but I'd left my daughter at home and went and had the free food.
Probably, but we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It's a special time. We won't have many 5 o'clock shows. It just so happens that the way the basketball schedule worked out, we had to get done before 6:30 when the Boilermakers will come on, and then we actually preempt the Boilermakers next week on Friday because they'll be playing Friday in the Bahamas, and of course we'll talk a lot about what our Friday entails here coming up. We do want to give you a preview of what our first couple of weeks of wrestling coverage are going to look like, so we'll preview that here in our show tonight. We'll also talk a little bit about the preseason mag that's out for Indiana Mat and some of the rankings that are there. Make sure that you check that out if you are so inclined. We'll talk about 8 different girls wrestling tournaments that happened across the state this weekend, including the Sarah Hildebrandt invite. We'll get to that in a second. In the first period, we're going to talk to a pair of coaches, A.J. Bradley from Muncie Central, as he tells us a little bit about what the girls from Muncie Central did this weekend. And then we're going to have a discussion about football and wrestling with the head coach of the Roncalli Royals, Mr. Sean Richardson. That'll come around the 5:30 hour. And then we'll loop back here to Adams County and discuss Adams Central and South Adams' next steps now as they advance to semi-state from a wrestling perspective, because that's really the only lens that you and I ever look at things through. And then just before 6 o'clock, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Belmont Braves, Tim Myers. And Tim will join us throughout the rest of the show. And then we'll give you a preview in the last few minutes before the Purdue basketball game tips off. If you're listening on the radio, we may just run over a little bit on YouTube. But if you're listening to YouTube, you don't have to do anything. So let's get right to it, Rex, here before our first break. Big tournament this weekend, the Sarah Hildebrandt Invitational. 45 teams present.
Wow.
And I don't want to, call us Nostradamus or anything, but guess who won this weekend?
Penn?
No, it was the Hobart Lady Brickies.
Okay.
Whose head coach we had on just last week.
It must have been fate.
And he was telling us about how good of a team that he had. And not only did they win, they knocked off the team that I had as the number 1 dual team in Indiana, the Maryville Pirates, for first place. So shout out to the Brickies. 225 points for Coach Westberg's girls. Maryville came in second with 200.5. Mooresville was right behind them. They're ranked number 4 in the state. Penn was behind them. They're ranked 10th. Then came East Noble and Columbia City were 8th. So 45 teams. So when you get into those middleweights for the girls, they were having an A and a B bracket and a championship bracket. And you got to get pretty creative when you have that 6-bout limit in a single day to make something like that happen.
That's what Coach was talking about last week when he was talking about point system, and you got to save some points here and there because if you're going to run dual meet tournament, or if you're going to run a dual meet tournament, you're going to run some dual meets during the week, that point system, you got to keep track of your points pretty close.
Yeah, and then what I thought was really cool, and I saw this in a couple of the tournaments that were above 24 or 32 teams, is they went ahead and did a consolation bracket. So you think about if you've ever been to the Al Smith, right? It's a 32-team tournament. Well, you eliminate 16 of those boys by 2 o'clock on the first day. Well, they went ahead and they sent those girls off into another bracket and let them wrestle again.
That's the idea, is get more matches.
Absolutely. So a wonderful way to run those tournaments. So a couple of highlights from that one. Your champion at 100 pounds was a freshman from Hobart that Coach Westberg was talking about last week, Alexis Rodriguez. At 105 pounds, the champion was last year's state champ at 100 pounds, Ella Nybert from Indian Creek. Champion at 110 was Sophia Carter from Jimtown. She had a 15-second pin in the finals. She's a freshman. East Noble won at 120. Marissa Schneider got the fall in the finals. And then East Noble won again at 140 and 145. They had a freshman at 140 who won, Kylie Pearson. And they had the champ at 145 as well, Elaine Lanes, who gave Coach Reason 3 titles in that tournament. East Noble, I think if they would have filled all the weights, would have been a lot higher up in the team race there. At 170 pounds, Lane Pepler, we remember her. She wrestled in the second round of the state finals last year against Mallory Winter and ended up with a 7th place medal. She won at 170 with 3 falls. Columbia City, Rex, had a freshman win at 235. She beat the number 2 seed in the very first round, went all the way to the title, and beat the East Noble girl for the final. Wow. So the NE8 having a lot of success. That's Brooke Steinbacher. So keep that name in mind if you're going to follow the girls wrestling throughout the way. And then another side note to all of this, there was a middle school girls wrestling tournament this weekend at Munster. They had 240 girls wrestling in that event. So we are going to talk a little bit more about some of the girls wrestling later on. We also want to tell you about some pretty darn big girls wrestling news. And I know you and I are excited. This week on Tuesday at the North Adams Community School Board meeting, Andrea Hernandez presented to the school board and to the superintendent, and she received permission and approval. Next year, in the fall of 2026, Belmont will have an official girls wrestling team with a separate head coach, and that's super, super exciting news for this community. I know you and I have been waiting for it.
Since Trinity and Andrea made the state finals, those years when they did, people said, where'd Belmont Wrestling go? We asked the same question, Dane.
Yeah, well, and we'll also give a shout-out to Coach Myers and to Coach Farrow, who were there at the meeting, I believe, and also helping Andrea with the presentation and making sure that this was going. So it definitely comes with the blessing of the boys' coaches and the community at large, and I think it's a little bit delayed, but I'm glad that it's here. And there's a lot of work to do between now and then, but, man, of all the people that you could get to be the spokesperson for a program, she's the perfect one. Well, right?
when does she graduate?
Look, Dane, where wrestling took her.
When does she graduate, and would she be available to be a head coach?
No, I think she is. I think she is. Okay. I think that's the plan. So yeah, so we're super excited about that, and we hope to have Coach. We hope to have Andrea on here in an upcoming episode so that we can talk more about what that means. And like the Marion County tournament that happened this weekend, we'll talk about it in our next segment. It's essentially every team that would wrestle in the boys tournament was wrestling in the girls tournament. And I think I wrote down that 10 teams had double-digit varsity wrestlers.
Entrance.
So, I mean, just about every big school in the state is already in. So, yeah. So we're getting ready for our first period. When we come back from this break, we'll be talking to A.J. Bradley from the Muncie Central Bearcats, and we'll talk to Coach Sean Richardson about the Roncalli boys and how football rolls in. We'll take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll talk more about girls wrestling right after this.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. And on the phone we have with us Coach A.J. Bradley of the Muncie Central Bearcats. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing pretty great. How about you fellas?
We're doing great. We missed you last week. You were moving somebody into college. Is that what it was?
My daughter was home for a little break, so we were heading back to Bloomington.
Well, you've always been a great friend of the show, and I know you shared with me that you were pretty excited about how Muncie Central did this weekend, so we definitely wanted to bring you on. So let's not waste any time. Tell us how yesterday went.
Oh, yesterday went great for us. We were at the Bronco Invitational, which was a 21-team invitational down here, and we went in a little short-handed because we had one girl who was sick, one was on crutches, and one was at a funeral, and we actually upset a couple top people and won the whole thing.
Yeah, very, very cool. I wrote down that you guys beat out Marion and Alexandria. Do you have six girls wrestling? Is that what it was?
We had 6 scoring girls wrestling, yes.
Okay.
7 total there, but 6 scoring.
Well, tell us about your 2 champs.
Yeah, 2 champs. The first one was at 140, Leara Rollins, currently ranked 14th in the state. She has 2 losses this year, both to Malia Parsons from Jay County. Getting better every day, tough girl. Really had a tough semifinal match, wasn't wrestling her best, found a way to pull it out. And then in the finals, she just, wrestled her best match of the day. So I was very proud of her because we said some days you just don't have it. You got to find a way to battle through and win those matches when you're just not feeling your best that day, you're not wrestling your best. And she did it.
Awesome. And then you had a champ at 190?
Yes. Jasmine Ray, amazing young lady. Currently weighs a whopping 167 pounds, but we have 2 really good girls at 70, and she chose to do some 90. They're going to go back and forth. And, she wrestled great on the day. 2 big wins in the finals against Yorktown. That's always fun when you got a close school like that. You're wrestling for a championship. Anytime I can get some bragging rights over Stevenson, it's great. But, yeah, she wrestled a very good match, very methodical. We was very proud of her.
Now, where do the Muncie Central girls go next?
Next, we were supposed to be in Clinton Prairie this weekend. There was some contract snafu. Not sure if we'll still be able to make it there, but if not, we'll be looking. If we can't go there, then the following Tuesday we actually host an invitational.
Awesome. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was how are you handling the split between the boys and the girls? Tell us a little bit about your coaching situation there.
Oh, yes. Here we have one staff that kind of does both. And in years past, I've been like the head coach of both. But this year, I kind of took more of a GM role with the girls and let Cayman Hayden be like the head coach. But all of our staff kind of works together. So we'll bounce back and forth. Some of the guys will go with the girls. Some will come back with the guys. Because our philosophy is a double egg to double egg. Whether you're a guy or a girl, a half is a half. So we'll juggle our guys and our ladies so they see different coaches, different people. So it's a constant juggling match, but it's one that I've seen as actually worked well for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I think, as we continue to progress, this is going to be a topic for the next decade, right? How do schools handle adding a girls program, adding a coaching staff? How much cooperation is there? And I love your analogy of sort of being the GM of the girls' side of things, almost like Rex might call you a DOWO, a director of wrestling operations. You need that guy. You need, you bring in a new coach and you can say, hey, I can help you with the administrative things, but I'm not sure I have time to get on the mat with both groups of kids, but I'm definitely willing to help you. And, kudos to you for helping out.
Hey, that's exactly what the discussion was. Simply because with the girls starting so much sooner, that's like more time, and then like that stretches you out. So having, and it's just hard to find coaches. So having a young coach that you can bring in and say, hey, look, I'll help with the administrative side. I'll mentor you. I'll do the paperwork. I'll help that and just let you coach. I think that's really going to help build the program and get more coaches over to Central.
Hey, AJ, last week we had Pat Culp on, and she talked about USA bracketing, running that. Has the USA bracketing and the weight management system through that been easier for you this season?
About the same. I think it's easier to understand. My AD might differ because now he's got to do a little bit more. But overall, I kind of like it. Like you put it in, and I love the fact that it shows you weekly. Like, and you can print out a weight report, and you can print out a weigh-in sheet, and it tells you what your kids can weigh this week. And the fact that kids have access to this. In years past, they didn't. So if you got a kid, a boy or a girl, trying to drop a few pounds, instead of them sitting down and doing math or you doing math, you can literally just pull up your USA bracketing profile, and right there it is. So it has been a huge help with that.
Yeah, and to cycle back on your cooperation between the boys' team and the girls' team, I've talked to a couple of head coaches already just in the last week who've said, yeah, we've got a girls' team, but we don't really talk, or we don't really have any relationship. We're coordinating times using the mat, and that's about it. That's going to be awfully tough for those programs to gel and gain anything off of each other. So I think, if you're a coach out there listening, find a way to get in touch with your girls' coach and let the two programs work off of each other, because there's so many positives to it.
Oh, yes, shared philosophy, shared friendships. The guys encourage the girls encourage the guy. You build just a bigger wrestling community when you're one. I mean, you can each kind of do your own thing, but have some communication. And because wrestling, at the end of the day, we're a fraternity. You go anywhere and see somebody with a wrestling shirt on, they're going to stop you and say, hey, if they wrestle. That's what we do. So keep those together if you can. Talk to the coaches. Let the kids know each other.
So, AJ, Muncie is not that far from Portland, and Jay County has had a lot of success with their girls program over a few years, and they basically have the perfect opportunity. They have two wrestling rooms side by side with a door split in the side of them, and they've taken and built as coaching staffs, and those coaching staffs, I mean, that's been like a four-man full girls coaching staff along, and I think a lot of those teams could take some pointers from those kind of guys that have embraced that girls thing and the girls teams, and that's what causes those teams to have success.
Oh, I agree. Our program has continued to grow, and our girls have gotten better every year because of the way that we do that. We have a split room kind of upstairs because we were able to take one in the baseball area, so it's nice. But we do the same thing, and you see our girls constantly improve, and it works for us.
Well, Coach, we thank you for coming on the show tonight. We're going to let you go, and we're going to recap the rest of the girls' tournaments from around the state, and we hope to talk to you soon in one of our episodes.
All right, sounds great. Thanks for letting me call.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, bye, fellas.
Tell you what, he just makes me smile. I hear his voice. I hear his positivity, and Coach Bradley's just one of those guys that you just absolutely love. So let's jump into it here, Rex, and talk about, we've got 8 minutes here in our segment, about some of these girls tournaments that happened this weekend. We already recapped what happened at the Sarah Hildebrandt Invitational, and you heard Coach Bradley talk about Muncie Central winning. There was a tournament up at Highland. Whiteland were the winners over Crown Point by 30 points. Caitlin Foudy was third place last year at state, and she won the tournament at 105. She had 4 falls in the first period, and one of your favorite wrestlers, Rex Alexandra Bostic from Highland.
She's a beast.
She is, she's a former national champ. She's a 3-time defending state champ. She had 2 tech falls, a first-minute pin in the final.
She'll be our next 4-timer, right?
She is very much on the road to being a 4-timer. The Marion County Girls Tournament was won by Franklin Central, and I've got Franklin Central ranked number 2 in the state overall as a dual team. Like I said, they won by 114 points over Beech Grove, who were second. There were 14 teams in the tournament, and 8 teams had 10 or more girls wrestling on the varsity side. Claire May was a semi-state champ last year and got third. She won in the finals at 100 over Anaya Delgado, who is also returning medalist for Perry Meridian. A freshman from Speedway, Janiyah Dale, was your champion at 130 pounds. She had 3 falls in her victory. Maddie Thompson, who was 6th last year, she was in that crazy weight class last year with Naima Gaffar and Katie Vardaman and Charisma Lawrence. She was your champion at 140 pounds. She had 2 falls to reach the finals and won 21-2 with the tech fall in the finals. Jasper was the winner by 15 over Mount Vernon at the Castle Invite. And then they had 36 teams wrestling yesterday at Purdue Polytech. That event was won by Franklin. They won by 25 points over New Pal. Also up there in the top 5. It's a pretty good tournament. Hamilton Southeastern, Columbus East, Jennings County, they all had good showings. The big bracket there was at 170 pounds. Eleanor Robertson of Franklin, who's now a sophomore, she was 4th last year in Mallory Winter's class. She beat Annabelle Redmond of Columbus East. She's just a freshman, and she's filling in the shoes of those McMahon girls who were so good for Columbus East last year. And then I was going to give a shout-out to Paisley Chambers. She is a girl from Westell that we've talked to several times. She had a really rough draw last year. She drew Robertson in the last year at the first round of state. So she was a returning state placer, lost in the first round, and then she lost in the second round of this 36-man bracket. So she had to go over into that consolation bracket. And she came all the way back and she won that thing. So I still think that is a really cool concept. Obviously, space dictates you only have so many matches, you only have so much time. But especially in an early season tournament, to bring in 36 girls at 130 pounds and then tell 20 of them to go home after 2 straight losses. No, how about you go in the other gym and you wrestle a brand new tournament? Yep. That's exactly the way that it should be set up.
You know, Dane, I made a comment at somebody the other day that girls wrestling is the fastest growing sport in the nation. They kind of turn their eyes at me and give me a funny look. It's like, you tell me that 200 girls showed up for a middle school wrestling tournament and it's not the fastest growing sport in the nation? How do you argue that?
Yeah, so as Pat told us last week, right, middle school is the next wild, wild west frontier that they're going to have to tackle and come up with some sort of plan. But the good thing is these organizing bodies, not necessarily the IHSAA, but the ISWA, the Girls Association, they're already setting up the framework for a middle school state, for middle school qualifiers, a JV state, all of those things.
Well, Dane, how many girls did you just read that won these big tournaments were freshmen?
Yes, there's
like 80% of them were freshmen.
there's a ton of them. So definitely jump on Indiana Mat here in the next week when the new rankings go public. If you can't wait till then, go to Indiana Mat, jump on there, buy the preseason mag. There's a lot of controversy this week. Some people think that they should just screenshot what Joe and Indiana Mat put out for the whole public and accusing Joe of being a money grabber. And
somebody got to pay the bills.
I just don't think these people understand how much of Joe's time goes into organizing all the things that he does. And the last I checked, he's not living in a mansion. He didn't put a bid in on the Pizza Hut magnate's house.
$36.8 million or something like that.
If you think Joe's out grabbing money, you're nuts, because what he's doing is he's making sure that some of his rankers, some of his photographers get their gas mileage paid for, that they have a shirt to wear, that those kids have, Indiana Mat singlets. It's not ain't nobody getting rich on Indiana Mat. I'm sorry.
So with that, let's run another round of commercials and back with our next segment right after these messages here on a High School Wrestling Weekly.
Hello, this is Joel. from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Zeeland. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors. It's where your friends shop.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Ho, ho, ho. 'Twas the season for giving, and throughout the community, neighbors shopped local with remarkable unity. They found clothes and toys that make children glad, sparkling jewelry for mom, electronics for dad. Why, everything you need to spread holiday cheer is all readily available right now and right here. This reminder to shop local for all your heart yearns comes with Merry Christmas wishes from First Bank of Bern.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Welcome back once again to the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, and that was our host, number one sponsor right there, their commercial. The Mr. Hirschy, who's probably sat right next to you the other night at the football game, he is the spotter for the Adams Central Flying Jets. But Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille is our host for the show each Sunday night, and tonight's special is wings and the curd burger, and that is what I'm going to take home. Their soups are always fantastic. My wife says, hey, why don't you bring me a thing of tomato bisque home? So tomato bisque, chicken noodle, and some kind of saucy potato. That's my favorites, the soups.
I'm already full up on food. I already have my cheese curds, and I'm good to go. Hey, in this second period, we're joined by the head coach of the Roncalli Royals, Coach Sean Richardson. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
Hey, we're looking in this section to talk a little bit about the effect that football has on a wrestling team, and specifically from a football success and a delayed start to wrestling season. Your boys won on Friday night, and you're set to play, I think, Heritage Hills. Is that right?
Yep, they're going to play Heritage Hills at Roncalli Friday.
And so just walk us through, what does that look like from your perspective? First off, how many boys are you missing, and what do you do with them as you try to reintegrate them once Roncalli finally loses?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would love to have another 15 boys. We're probably going to get 8 to 10 boys off the football team. A couple kids that are just going to be trying wrestling, and then obviously some kids that have really helped us in the past. Probably three varsity wrestlers. But normally, like, we might have, the top five varsity wrestlers are usually football players. When I took the job, 5 years ago, and we had our schedule kind of set up so that we planned on playing football at least through the regional. So, but this year, I just feel like that's just a lot of practice time for your non-football players before we get to compete. So that's why we're actually, gonna, the boys are gonna be playing the semi-state football game on Friday night, and then we're gonna be wrestling at the Center Grove Classic on Saturday with the guys that obviously aren't playing football.
Well, let's interrupt our football talk for a little bit because you give us a great segue. Tell us a little bit. That it just came across my desk. I was trying to look forward and have a little bit of an idea about what to talk about for next week's show. That's one heck of a tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a good tournament. Coach Swain at Center Grove and some of the other Center Grove coaches were trying to put this together. And what they wanted to do is have like an early season individual tournament where you could, enter a varsity and a JV kid. We can enter two kids per weight class and just kind of see how they do. I'm looking forward to it because it can kind of, add to some of your wrestle-off situation. If you have a controversy, you have some kids that are really close, we'll see how they do in this event. So it'll be kind of exciting.
Let's recap the lineup for that one. The Center Grove Classic is an individual tournament, and as you said, 2 wrestlers per weight class. Plainfield, Columbus North, number 1 overall Brownsburg, Roncalli, number 17 overall Homestead, Hamilton Southeastern, Westfield, and, of course, number 2 overall Center Grove. That's a loaded tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. And that's another thing is, I was excited to get into an individual tournament if we don't have football players because we're not really, trying to, getting beaten a duel and, blaming it on football or we're not having all our full lineup. We can do this and, if we don't place in the, where we probably could have, it's not that deep, and our individuals can try to do the best they can.
Coach, another good thing about that is if you can put 2 wrestlers weight class, if you get guys that are not to their what you think would be their normal weight for the entire season, you get 2 guys in the same weight class, put them in there and let them fight out and then see how they do in a real-life match situation versus a wrestle-off in a wrestling room.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back when I coached at Perry Meridian, we would see this constantly where one, wrestler A could beat wrestler B, but wrestler B would just do really well in all of the tournaments, and you're just thinking, wow, maybe this guy's the better wrestler when the lights turn on. So it'll be exciting for sure. I know Center Grove, that's why they really wanted to do it because they kind of have that they've had that in a couple weight classes, Brownsburg as well.
So, Coach, let's talk specifically about bringing a football player back onto the mat. I don't know if you guys are favorites on Friday, but say you win and you end up at the state finals, maybe taking on Dwenger again or whomever, and a kid walks into your wrestling room on basically December 1st. What do you do with him?
Yeah, I'm going to try to be a little more creative this year, and I definitely do want to kind of slowly get them back going. I know some of and really keep them excited about wrestling too. But yeah, I want to get them, especially some of the kids that are going to have little experience because they're going to come in. We've practiced for, our varsity team or the non-football players have practiced for 5 weeks. You have some kids come in that are really rusty or relatively new to wrestling. They're going to be kind of, you're going to run them off pretty quick. So I'm going to kind of slow things down a little bit, have them get in there. We'll have a couple drill practices, maybe even just have some live situations where some of these kids can kind of get back into it a little bit. But I know they're going to be banged up a little bit. One of the things I'm going to meet with them here this week and kind of tell them, hey, if you guys go to the state finals, you got to look at it. You probably have 7 or 8 weeks before the sectional. It's kind of crazy how quick the season is going to be for them. So we can't take too much time off, but I definitely want to ease them back into it, and I don't want to run anybody off if I have some young, 190-pounders that are going to eventually really help me out if I have some sophomores come out like I think I'm going to.
And I know from our conversation, we've Adams Central and South Adams have had so much success in the last 5 years that we've really had a chance to dive into this. A lot of it's just mental, right? I mean, these boys have been showing up 5-6 weeks in a row, not knowing whether they're going to drive home as winners with another week of football or whether they're going to face some crushing loss where they had expectations that they were going to win and then they didn't. That's hard to turn that around and then get them hungry to wrestle.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that I've obviously dealt with it, for the last 20 years, but I think that it's even bigger here because at Roncalli, the pride for the football program is so high that when you do have a letdown, it's a serious letdown. But I don't think that the boys will feel like that at all this year. Chatard pretty much smacked them early in the year, and they completely flipped the script in the sectional finals. It was pretty impressive to watch. So I no matter how this whole season ends, they're definitely on a high note, and it's pretty exciting right now at Roncalli.
Well, let's talk about the wrestlers that you have coming this year because you guys are definitely contenders for the 3A state title. I've got 3 names written down, starting with Carter Sanford.
Yep, Carter Sanford. He'll be a 106, 113. He's really good. Had a really good off season. He did really well in some big tournaments, and he's really put himself in a position where I can tell he's just getting a lot better. So I'm excited to see where he can get to.
And you also have a returning semi-state champ.
Yeah.
And Blake Getz.
Blake Getz, yeah, he is an absolute hammer. He's going to probably be wrestling 126. I'm excited to see that weight class at the Center Grove Classic. It's going to be a preview of the state finals. I think you're going to have probably 3 or 4 really, really good kids at 126.
And then you also had a freshman ticket rounder last year in Gavin Kemp.
Yeah, Gavin, he's kind of grown quite a bit. He's either going to be 138, 144 for us, and he's really exciting to watch, and just watching him wrestle with some of our bigger guys now that he's growing. I think he's a lot more confident, because at first he was thinking, I got to get down to this or that, I got to get down to 132, and I'm thinking, man, dude, you don't realize how good you're getting. So I'm excited to see where he can go too.
Well, you guys have already clinched a spot in the 3A team state. Besides the Center Grove Classic, what else do you have in your schedule between now and New Year's that's going to get you set up for a good seed?
Our first dual tournament, well, we picked up Indian Creek as a dual, as a weeknight dual, and I'm excited for that because Indian Creek has a lot of really good wrestlers, so that's going to be a great weeknight dual for us. So that's new to our schedule this year. We're going to the Westfield duels again, the Shamrock duels. There's a lot of good teams in that tournament. Homestead came down last year for it. You got Fishers, Carmel, Hamilton Southeastern. I mean, Whiteland's getting better. I mean, there's a bunch of good teams. I'm probably missing a few. Noblesville. That's a really good tournament for us. And then after that, we have our duels where we wrestle. We have our Roncalli duels. We wrestle New Pal, a couple other really good teams. Brownsburg brings like a mixed team because they'll be sending some of their kids to the Ironman, and then of course our county tournament, and then Modern Day. I mean, it's every Saturday is going to be pretty exciting for us.
Well, I was setting you up there to brag because your schedule's good. There's no doubt about it. It is not like you're going to have to go out of your way to add somebody late in December to make sure that you get a good seed. You guys have got plenty of opportunity to show where you belong. And really, I think as a head coach, especially in this team state era, it's kind of nice to be able to sit back and know, okay, we've got everything set up. If we're good, we're going to show it, and we don't have to prove anybody wrong.
Right. Yeah, it is. I would like to have I would rather have it where we're a really tough, schedule, or maybe even too tough, than to sit back and think, man, I wish we would have had some more competition before we get to the sectional or regional, just because I just love to have our guys tested. Now, we probably won't have very many undefeated wrestlers, but I know that once we get to the semi-state and we have some kids that could be undefeated, I'll be telling our kids they haven't wrestled, 5 of the top 10 kids either. So,
well, Coach, we thank you for coming on the show tonight, and we certainly appreciate you jumping on here over the last 12 months, and we look forward to maybe talking to you again in December about some of the teams that just got added, and then for our bracket reveal for Team State. And I believe you'll be at Franklin this year. 3A and 1A are together. So you and Rex will be there at Franklin in the first weekend in January.
Yep, we'll be at Franklin.
So sounds good, Coach. Good luck, and good luck to your football players.
All right, thank you very much. See you.
So with that, we'll play a couple commercials, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what Coach Richardson talked about, how that applies to Adams Central and South Adams as they get ready for their football semi-state here on Friday.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion. Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Caught me off guard. Welcome back once again to the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. And Dane, we started so early. There's a nice little crowd starting to roll in now, so we're starting to get a little audience out here.
Lots of people checking out the menu and looking what is on tap.
For the fact that there's an IU basketball game, I may have something to do with it.
I can smell the grill fired up as well. We want to give a shout out, of course, to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for being our host every season that we've been on the air. We also want to give a shout out to Brad Weber, one of our great sponsors who allows this program to continue along with the ads that you hear. So a shout out to the Weber family and a big thank you. And I know Brad will not be able to be listening on Friday because I assume he probably has I think he's got a semi-state assignment.
He might have
We'll
one.
have to check in with him to see. Maybe he's listening right now and can tell us if he's going to be there or not. Otherwise, he's going to be tuned in on Friday night for our very first wrestling broadcast of the year. I'll be at Wawasee as the Belmont Braves travel up to Wawasee to take on the Warriors, and that should be a really interesting duel. We'll talk a little bit more with Coach Myers here in a bit about what that Belmont lineup looks like.
I'll be in a different time zone. Thank you very much.
You will. We'll kind of be traveling in the general same direction, first off.
I'll just be farther.
Now, one thing that we do want to note is that the current start time for the wrestling match on Friday is 6 o'clock. And so we're set up that we are going to be on YouTube and on air for wrestling all the way up until a fixed time, probably somewhere around 7:40, I would think, somewhere around there. So if you're listening on the radio, you're going to need to switch over to YouTube if you want to hear the completion of the wrestling match, although there's probably a decent chance that the wrestling match is pretty much wrapped up by then. You may miss the post-match, but if you want to join it, and then we'll have the South Adams game for you also on YouTube. Dave Nathan will be doing that. So one game on air, wrestling on YouTube and on air to start, and then we'll have the Adams Central game against Andrean on the air throughout the time. And we're really hoping that the following weekend we have the exact same problem. I'll be at Goshen for Belmont Wrestling, and we're hoping that we got 2 state championship games to call, one on Friday, one on Saturday.
Now, technically, we max out at 2 YouTube broadcasts.
Well, I think theoretically there's a third dimension in there, but I don't know if we've traveled to yet.
You have to hit the time warp?
I don't know. We'd have to bring in some specialty. Once again, all of our broadcasts on YouTube, like this one that we're doing right now, also brought to you by Innovative Concepts. So we certainly want to give a shout-out to them as they are a big part of sponsorship of high school sports on WZBD.
I do know that if there's 3 YouTube broadcasts, it's got to be you, I, and Dane and Dave because that's the only equipment.
That's the only ones that are set up to go that way. So, well, during our halftime show on Friday down in Monroe, we had a chance to talk to Ryan Landis, and I mistakenly introduced him as a state champion, and I could just feel the sadness flowing out of him. He said, yeah, that was the year after I graduated. And I apologize profusely because, I don't know, I just had it in my head that he was part of that team.
That was 08, right? No,
you're thinking about that. Yeah. He was a 99 graduate. Well, he's a 2000 graduate in May, and they won in November. Anyways.
It's only on that big white water tower.
Yeah,
in Monroe.
I know. I should have done. Well, I got to mix up. Anyways, he said that Adams Central's got 15 guys out on the team right now, out on the mat. Now, I told him that there was, times where we'd have the previous head coach in here, and he'd say, well, it's like Logan Macklin and 2 guys, and they're in a 3-man group, and everybody else is on the football team. So it's a little bit now different than maybe it was 5 years ago for Adams Central. But there's definitely some guys out there on the football field that the wrestling team's going to be missing.
You know, with Dubois and Shorty and those guys, some of those guys that have wrestled all summer long, I mean, those guys are dedicated wrestlers. I mean, and Adams Central has not had a lot of those just dedicated wrestlers, but they do now.
Yeah, so he said he still expects 15 guys from the football team to come out for the wrestling team. And so they're expecting 30-plus on their roster this year. There's a lot to be said. We'll talk about it when he comes on the show, but there's new life. It's invigorating. They've got a new head coach. They took a bad situation, and they made it a really, really positive one.
And they added another head coach.
And they've got Eric Myers in there as well. And so there's just a lot of positives to this Adams Central season. And unfortunately, we've got to wait for it to get started. And I haven't heard word yet. I know both Adams Central and South Adams have a dual meet scheduled in the days leading up to the conference duels. I have a feeling now with the wins this past Friday that both of those are going to end up being rescheduled. And really the first chance that we're going to get to see both Adams Central and South Adams is not until that Saturday of the conference duels. And I don't even remember where they are. Are they at Jay County? Does that sound right? I think so. On that weekend, we'll be doing the Belmont rounds on Friday night at New Haven. And then, let's see if I can pull it up here if I have it written down. I can't keep track of it. Conference duels are at New Haven. We'll have 2 rounds of Belmont wrestling that Friday night, December 12th. And then the ACAC conference duels are the 13th, and that is at Jay County. We'll try to bring you the 2 best back-to-back subsequent rounds in that one. You never know because they don't draw those until a week leading up, and they don't really – it's not like the guys at ESPN who line up the rounds for TV. They do it.
Got a nice round table up here for the Palacios. We'll put you right up front of here.
They're getting ready for Coach Myers' appearance here in 10 or 15 minutes. We're looking forward to it.
They're a little late. I think they was off buying chicken someplace.
Well, they probably didn't know that we were starting at 5 until I posted it earlier. Yeah, I'm sorry. It'll return to 6:30, I promise. We've got it set up that way.
It was before supper time. They weren't going to come out before supper time anyway.
This is very true. So, let's reflect a little bit on what Coach Richardson was talking about. Of course, most schools, especially when you get above 2A, they got enough guys in the room. They can compete in a tournament, right? And certainly there's something to be said about entering into some individual tournaments at this time of year. It negates some of the losses. You don't have that, nobody really looks all that closely at the individual tournament scores and says, oh, they got beat that bad. It doesn't really equate. If you stack your early season schedule with a bunch of duels, and you pick up losses to teams who maybe aren't in your team state tournament, then people start to say, well, you lost to them and them and them.
Yep.
And then you start getting into the game of, well, we had this guy out, and this guy out, and this guy out. So that tournament, how about a beginning of the year, Saturday, individual tournament featuring the 2 best teams in the state and then 6 more 3A and 4A schools?
Yeah.
That's going to be a meat grinder. The Center Grove and Brownsburg JV teams could be ranked top 10 or 15 in the state.
Of course.
I mean, they're that deep. So that's going to be very, very impressive. So anything else that you want to rehash from Coach Richardson talk? I liked what he said about motivation. If you provide the kids too much pause in between football and wrestling, you're doing them an injustice because, like he said, you've only got 8 weeks till sectional.
Yeah.
And we talked about the mental side of things and having to get kids ready. But when it comes down to it, you know what's best for a kid and where he needs to be conditioning-wise, weight-wise, and you just got to go.
Yeah, I know that Friday night after the football game, West Somerset come up and was interviewed by another affiliate, and when he was walking out, I told him, said, well, congratulations tonight, but I wanted to see you on a wrestling mat sooner, and he just kind of laughed, and he said, yeah, I can't wait either. So
I told him the same thing 2 weeks ago down at Tri, and he kind of chuckled too. And that is ultimately the coach's responsibility.
Yeah.
It is the coach's responsibility to take whatever happened in football, whether it's a positive or a negative, and then parlay that into, well, now get your butt on the mat and let's go. Because there's definitely something to be said about tasting success and then wanting more of it. But there's also something to be said about feeling that disappointment. And, the football season, we've talked about it a lot. Those guys are playing, summer ball, short-sighted games in June and July with the goal. Let's not beat around the bush. Adams Central and South Adams had goals of making it to state and winning state this year. These aren't surprise wins that they just find themselves in semi-state. Both of them were there last year. So any loss up to this point would have been a huge disappointment. Would this week's loss be disappointment for both?
Of course.
I think so. So if that's what happens, how do you take that? What period of grieving do you have to have before you ask that kid?
One day.
Hey, you should come to practice tomorrow. Let's put that. Let's sweat that out and let's set a new goal.
I don't want to lose this fact, but that summer kid set is way bigger in the press box stand next to you than he is on the field when you look.
He doesn't look that big on the football field.
He's big.
I mean, he's tall, but
he doesn't. I'm short. Everybody walks by me. He looked big and fast.
He really does pack a punch.
Yeah.
And he came around the end. I had it on my phone on silent while we were calling the end of the game because Mike was taking care of the play-by-play, and I was trying to make sure that people were listening to the radio could also follow what was going on. And he came around the end, and that quarterback was going that way, and he just right around the back of him, and that was game over.
I sent a text to Grant after the game, told him congratulations, and I said North Miami had two guys that were 5'0" guarding West Somerset. I said, that's like taking candy from a baby, and his response was, Pioneer will have somebody to guard him.
Yeah, they will. Well, our last note here on Adams Central and South Adams. Adams Central will begin the year ranked number 2 in 1A. They'll be behind North Miami, who are the defending champs. That was the championship match last year in
at Hartley Hoover. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's the biggest quarterback we saw all season long.
Now, once again, the first match scheduled for Adams Central is on Tuesday, December 9th. Against Norwell. I have a feeling that one's going to get rescheduled, which means we'll probably see Adams Central take the mat for the first time on December 13th. For South Adams, they begin the year at number 8 in the state rankings in 1A. And I'm fairly certain that the first match for them is scheduled for December 2nd. And I don't think that's going to happen. They're scheduled to wrestle Cowan. And here's the nice thing for them is a couple years ago we were talking about their football success, and we were specifically talking about how are they going to manage to make it to state or go far in football and win themselves a spot to team state in 1A. They don't have to do that this year. They already have their spot clinched. All they're worried about is the seed. And so that match on December 2nd against Cowan, you can reschedule that. That's not going to be a make or break. The match against Belmont, they're probably going to end up rescheduling that one as well. So we'll see what that looks like, and obviously when that comes across our desks, our inboxes, we'll relay that on our show. But, I had a couple people mention to me something about Adams Central and South Adams, and, you and I are both Belmont guys, and they asked us our opinion. I think they wanted me to say that you and I might not root for Adams Central and South Adams.
Why would we root against them?
I was almost befuddled.
Offended.
There is nothing that gets me more excited than watching Coach Mosier or Coach Mosier get out there and get his boys playing well and winning. I texted both of them Friday night and congratulated them. And Coach Mosier immediately responded back from Adams Central, and Coach Mosier from South Adams immediately responded back and said, "Man, you're such a good friend." Like, I love seeing those teams win. And whatever happens with their wrestling schedule, we don't care. It's great for this community. The community responds and supports them. And, everybody needs to band together on that.
There are many Friday nights that I know that Grant and his brothers and all of his assistant coaches are already watching film, and they watch film till 1 o'clock at night. There's many Friday nights that he and I have a text string going back and forth, 12:30, 1:45 at night, because they're already working on next week's game plan.
Yeah, and he comes, and you may not believe this, but I know that it's true because I've heard him edit it. Grant goes back and listens to every single one of our football broadcasts.
He does.
And make sure that he hears what's said about his boys and relays that information. So
he tuned into a YouTube and he came back and he listened to it and he said, "Hey, you did a really good job with that." It's like, to know that a coach has listened to our broadcast of his game, it's cool.
Yep. Well, we're going to play a few commercials here, and hopefully when we come back, we'll have Coach Tim Myers of the Belmont Braves, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that starting lineup for Friday's match against Wawasee right after this.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
'Twas the season for giving, and throughout the community, neighbors shopped local with remarkable unity. They found clothes and toys that make children glad, sparkling jewelry for mom, electronics for dad. Why, everything you need to spread holiday cheer is all readily available right now and right here. This reminder to shop local for all your heart yearns comes with Merry Christmas wishes from First Bank of Bird.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, and we are now joined by the coach of the Belmont Braves, Coach Tim Myers. How you doing, Coach?
All right. How you doing, Rex?
We're good.
Good.
Well, we're getting ready for the start of the season with the very first duel on Friday night, and obviously the first question is, how's the season going so far? How many boys do you have out? What's practice look like? That kind of stuff.
Oh, we've got a lot of young pups that are fireballs right now. And I'm very, very excited. And not only are they young, but they had a great off season. Anytime our room was open, they're there, and that's pretty neat to see out of veterans, let alone incoming freshmen. So I'm very excited about it. And you know, whether they're in the lineup or not this year, you'll get some freshmen who are upset that they're not. And again, a lot of times that doesn't happen. They're content to be on JV. Like I said, we've got a couple fireballs right now. You don't let anybody be content anywhere. Nope.
And you've got the real positive is it is a really young team from a percentage-wise. You've got two good classes now, freshmen, sophomores, and then just 3 juniors and 4 seniors? 5?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, you've got some – and then you've got, 9, 10, 12 kids in the freshman and the sophomore classes. So, definitely positives there. You went through wrestle-offs for the very first time. What was the competition like there?
That was good. So again, starting with those young kids, Zane Snyder at 106, he's such a neat kid, comes from a great family. Didn't win the wrestle-off. He lost to Cameron Barger. Jacob Blicky is injured right now, so Cameron, another kid who comes in, they don't wrestle like freshmen. But Cameron won that spot for this time, and it's kind of cliche that it's simply just the first wrestle-off, which it is. There will be more to come. But it was a good battle. Jacob will get healthy partway through this season, so he'll be back at it.
Jacob Binniger, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
My Jacob B's. Yeah, I know it. And then 113, Bradley Baker. Again, we got another Baker in the lineup, but one that's just has much desire to win now
And he's one of those kids, having watched him wrestle a ton the last 4 years, like he's just starting to get into his growing up phase. He's a kid that's going to see from freshman to senior year a lot of growth physically, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I mean, you think back to, freshman 145-pound Randy Baker was ready to demolish anybody across the state. It's a little bit different with Bradley as far as the way his body's built up, but like the desire is there. Randy is there helping him. That's an awfully good little wrestler for Belmont this year.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of Bakers have come in ready to. You think of your Tylers, Ryan. Billy wasn't. Billy was kind of a butterball his freshman year.
Right.
I hope he's listening.
Even sophomore year, right? I mean, even you talk about
Mm-hmm.
him winning state as a senior, and even his sophomore year, he wasn't the varsity 89-pounder that year.
No, but a lot of that. But I specifically remember Paul Gunsey had to line his wheels one day because he was being very, very soft, for lack of a better term, and Paul kind of pulled him to the side and said, "That's not what we do," and you know the rest of the story with Billy, what ended up happening. So back to the lineup, and then Oliver Froat. Man, that's another one, and I just love to watch. I love watching that kid walk because there's confidence. There's confidence. He doesn't seem like a shy little freshman, and he's ready to win. He's ready to win. And he's got relatives on the team. You got your Froats and Bakers. Charlie's ready to step in. He's a state champ in freestyle. But again, he's a freshman now. He'll find time in the lineup. 26, Ben Mills. He's a little bit bigger this year.
And he's matured a lot as a young man, and is really like, I feel like he's got an attitude that he knows what to expect now, and he knows who he is.
Exactly. You say he matures. It's not just the physical maturity, the mental, and he's a working man now. Really, he's
an entrepreneur.
Yes, he works, but his summer was incredible. He was there all the time, and he wants to make something happen this year, and I believe he will, because like you said, there's that maturity that we hadn't seen. It's not that he wasn't a good kid, hard worker, but he's different this year. So very excited about that.
So, Tim, you talked about Charlie Froat. I did not get to cover any Belmont matches games this year. I was off over. But I just kept hearing people talk about his athletic ability. He started as a freshman quarterback, and he took his lumps because the Belmont team just, maybe didn't protect him as well as they could. Do you think that helped him mature and be ready to walk on a wrestle mat even more ready to wrestle as a freshman?
Sure, absolutely. And the thing is Charlie's such a student of the sport. He is constantly asking questions, and it's not a kid asking questions to kill time. He is doing it because he wants to know. And when things aren't going well, you know it with Charlie. He gets that chip on his shoulder because this move isn't working. What am I doing wrong? And he sticks around till he gets it right.
Nick Hall told me that during football season the same way. It's like he has a very short memory, and he'd come off the field after a play and said, how do I fix that and how do I do something different? Because he wants to be a very good quarterback as well.
Yes, he does. And he just, obviously with that, he's so coachable. He really is.
Yeah, and there was never a moment where I saw them play 8 of their 9 regular season games this year. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, he went down early there, or he avoided the hit there.
Right.
He took every single hit that came his way and popped right back up and ran back to the sideline and got the play half the time from the coaches and then ran back in.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is a kid who wrestled at Fargo, so it's going to take a whole lot to break a kid like that. Back to 132, it was a good wrestle-off. We knew it was going to be between Luke Rubel, Landon Sealscott. Those two, we said they are going to be battling for something the rest of their lives. They really will. They'll be battling to get into college against each other. They'll be battling for the same job someday. You just never know about those two. Luke ended up winning it this time. But, again, they're back and forth so much that you can expect to see both of them in the lineup. But, once again, Luke had an incredible off-season. Constantly in the room, and they're always making their way up to Indiana Tech as well. And you know how it is. When you do that stuff, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. You can't just wrestle from November to February and think you're going to be anything, because it doesn't happen. Not this day and age. So, 38, Henry Farrell. We know Henry. We know how good he is. You never know what's going to happen with kids in the off season, but I think he is. I think he is fully mature, but I think he's a little bit leaner this year, but stronger. So I'm very excited about Henry. Again, he made the Fargo trip, got some wins out there, and that speaks volumes.
Do all those guys in that weight range fall pretty even with where they need to be weight management wise? Are they in a good spot there?
This has been the most difficult group I've ever had as far as figuring out where everyone's going to go.
Okay.
Because it is so tight with all of them.
So certainly an opportunity for some guys to shuffle based on what happens.
Sure. And as I said, talk about Henry. You think, is this kid going to mature over the season? Is he going to gain weight? Is he going to lose weight? You have to take that into account. Charlie, I see continuously growing. But you never know. It's so jam-packed. There's just not enough weight classes in the middle for us, so we got to figure something out. And I think we're on to something pretty good where I'm pretty confident in to get all of our studs into the lineup.
That's a good problem to have.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it is.
Well, and there's some teams who have been really, really heavy at the bottom and guys who have been really, really heavy at the top. But if you're talking about a dual team and where you want to have your strength, when you have it in the middle, it allows you so many more options to bump guys up and to make moves.
Yes.
So that reaches the halfway point of the lineup. Let's take a break and give homage to a couple of our sponsors. We'll be back with the upper weights and Coach Myers right after this.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Land. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back to Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. And there once again was our good friend Ryan Hirschy, who told Dane about 7 years ago, I'm all in on the High School Wrestling Weekly, and his name's been on the back of our shirt for the past 7 years. 7 years? Season 7?
I think that's...
Man, they just fly by.
I think that's where we are. We're here with Coach Tim Myers of the Belmont Braves. He's recapping the results of the wrestle-off. So far, we noted the absence due to injury to Jacob Binniger down low. Freshman Cameron Barger at 106 pounds. Bradley Baker, another freshman, at 113 pounds. Oliver Farrow at 120. Ben Mills, a junior, at 126. Luke Rubel, the sophomore, at 132. And Henry Farrow at 138 pounds. Tell us who the 144-pounder is going to be.
Well, it's Gable. He's in there right now, and he's pretty excited about it. Another kid who had a great summer. Made a lot of trips to Columbus, hanging out with his big brother. Even today, walk into the living room and they're watching as much college wrestling as they can, talking about national duels, Ferrari getting beat, this, that. So he's loving it, and I'm excited for him. He had a good Fargo trip as well. And
you talk about the college wrestling aspect of it. I don't know if guys from your generation felt that connection with college wrestling because it was so hard to watch on TV. It's so accessible to them now.
Right.
That they have relationships with a lot of these guys that they've met at camps, and they know them. They've got pictures on their phones with them. That just sets them up for more success after high school and inspires them, I feel like, because they know how cool it is to wrestle in the Big Ten.
Absolutely. Let alone if you get to practice with him, with Carson Karchla in Ohio State. He's got a connection with him, and they fall in love with him. They learn from him. And like you said, it's not just hearing about him, reading about him in a magazine. You get to see him and be around him. It's pretty neat.
Now, you mentioned that Charlie Farote won the wrestle-off at 150 against Owen Shane. So who does that put you at 157?
He has not won the wrestle-off yet because he has to wrestle Owen yet.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have that one later. And Owen is another one that anytime the door was open this summer, Owen was there. And like we were talking about with Rex, we have a great problem in that, who is going to be in the lineup? I don't know, but I can't wait for dual meets, big dual meets, because we have a lot of weapons we can use.
And when you only get to wrestle once a night, it's not as much fun. I know you're already getting ready for Goshen, where we can wrestle 10 times in 2 days, and then really expand it.
Yep, I know it. Yeah, so Charlie's a hammer, but so is Owen, and it was neat to get a move in like that because Owen will be a factor, no doubt.
Yeah, and a good kid too, and I think he's really embracing being at Belmont with some old friends.
Yes.
And I think he's really going to be a positive.
So, Tim, at the 7th grade football championship, you gave me that the big poster, the new poster.
Yeah.
It's right on my garage fridge right in front of me. And I'm looking back and go, oh, I forgot about that kid.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that kid. There's like 7 guys in front there, and it's like you got some hammers on there, and they're guys you think, oh, I forgot he's back this year.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, I use that as my reference. It's right below my TV, so I'm watching.
All right. Yeah, that was a fun poster to put together with the whole candy cane, red, white. But I was just talking yesterday to our kids. I said, honestly, it's fun to write, 8th place, but every one of those kids has, some sort of academic all-state or national academic awards and scholar athlete. It's every one of them. So we're not just meathead wrestlers at Belmont. It's pretty neat.
Well, keep going. Go on to 157 then.
57, Sam Wolper. Sammy is back. Sammy, another. He's been such a great leader this year. And he's always had moments where he has attempted to lead, but now being a senior, he really feels it, and he does a great job. And it doesn't matter if it's making the rules for handball or leading the team in something more important. Sammy is a great leader. We will absolutely miss him when he does graduate. Because he's just always been a presence, whether it's with his teammates or helping out with the youth.
And he's been doing that for a long time. I can speak from experience that a lot of these 9th graders especially would have had Sam wrestling over in the corner during club practice when they were in 1st and 2nd grade and helping them out.
Yes, and Sam is the perfect person that will he's not looking to get any recognition or anything, but he will pull somebody off to the side and give them a pep talk to them, console them if they need it, and you hear about it afterwards, and it's just like, yep, he's a special kid.
We have seen him mature over the years. Freshman, sophomore year. I mean, there's times when he did some hot-headed stuff, but you could tell that he was just really fired up about it. He's really matured and fallen into that senior leadership role for you.
Yeah, well, trust me, though, he still has that. He still
you don't
has
want him to lose that.
He has the Wolpert in him still, I promise. Once in a while, we got to at least turn him down.
Dial it back
turn him down to
notch.
9.5, yeah. But, yeah, he's a good one. And he will wrestle off Cade Cutler. And Cade's another one. Just had an awesome summer, always there. And just a special kid, always has a smile on his face.
At 165, you've got Austin Manley, correct,
Yep.
as your varsity guy. And I've been talking to a couple of people about this year's freshman, and I'm telling them, man, look at what Austin went through last year. Just absolute dogfight every single night of the year to get to, I think, 19 and 19, right?
And actually, studs every night.
I talked to him earlier in the year. I'm like, if you can get to 500, that's going to be a heck of a year. And every day he'd come into class, he's like, well, now I'm 200, now I'm 200 500, or if I can get 2 wins here, and I can get there. And it's just that freshman year of getting through that and surviving and learning all of the things. Like we talk about the X-Man, right? Think about his freshman year and missing out at sectional and not moving on to regional, and then 2 years later, boom, state medal.
Right.
I mean, those are the kinds of things I think that you can expect from a kid like Austin Manley, who went through that freshman year 500 season of getting his butt whooped, and now he's more mature, he's stronger, he's ready to go.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. I mean, no one sweats harder than Austin every single day, and that might be his greatest weakness and strength, because he's one that you have to slow him down a little bit. He wants to work so hard in the practice room that sometimes it's like, Austin, slow down. We have to get this technique down first, but he just wants to hammer down all the time.
Wants to grind.
He does. He really does. It's fun for him.
And then at 175?
175, Landon Rich wrestled off against Braxton Arriaga. Braxton, another kid up there often, very often.
And finally healthy?
Yeah. His shoulder is not the greatest, but is so much better than it ever has been throughout his high school career. And he's another one. I'm confident he will find the lineup sometimes this year. But Landon had the seniority over him, and it was evident in the wrestle-off, so Landon will start.
And then at 190 pounds?
At 190, we got a beginner. His name is Xavier Palacio. Mom and Dad are over my shoulder.
They're here every week.
I know. No, we love Xavier. I even had Xavier. I said I couldn't believe what I was doing. There were 2 times in the same practice that I pulled him out to the center to show technique from your feet. The strangest thing ever. He always shows things on the mat, but he was doing good stuff on his feet, and I got a good laugh out of him. But Xavier, he went to Super 32 this year, for crying out loud, and it's just, no, he didn't win it, but simply being in that atmosphere, you will see a different Xavier Palacios this year, no doubt in my mind, and he was a hammer last year.
I spent a lot of time talking with the judge and Henry, and Henry always talked about Xavier's just incredible strength. And I was talking to Sam at the Halloween parade this year, and he said that the other night, he said X-Men was on one knee and had one foot up, and he took Grady Baker and threw Grady Baker across the mat with one hand, and everybody just stopped and looks like, did he just throw Grady across the mat?
Yeah, his strength. But don't just say that it's all strength either, because as I said, he's getting the technique. I mean, he's always had it on the mat, but it'll be even neater to watch him when he can pair that technique with his strength.
Now, with all those names you've mentioned beforehand, is there going to be times where the X-Man is your 215-pounder?
Getting awful nosy there, Dane.
reveal all your secrets.
Come on, man. Come on.
It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure that one out.
This is where we ask the real questions.
It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure that one out.
No. Let's give due to your 215-pounders and who you had for the wrestle-offs.
There was Douglas Hamilton and Blake Christner. That was back and forth. Douglas ended up winning it this time. It's one of those ones. It will be back and forth every single time.
And 215 last year gave us a great story. We had Ryan Fawbush, and we loved watching him all year. And it wasn't necessarily that we expected him to go out there and win every time, but we knew something was going to happen in the first period, and we knew that maybe more than anybody in the lineup last year, it meant something to him.
Yeah.
Every match that he stepped onto the mat.
Yes.
So I think a chance for some unique stories at 215 this year as well.
Well, and Ryan is helping now this year, too.
Yes.
And I've never had a kid fresh out of high school actually coach as well as what Ryan does. You say, what do you mean by that? Like, a lot of kids come back to wrestle simply to see if they still have it, you know, and they don't really coach. And I can say that myself, too. You came back to really just beat on kids because that's what you do. But Ryan is a very mature kid already, and he is truly coaching. He's slowing these kids down. He's coaching them, teaching them, and it's pretty neat to have a kid like that.
And so, I mean, obviously he's probably helping out with Doug and with Blake, but you've also got some bigger freshmen in there, a Kyle Schaefer, a Carter Sutton, some guys who really are going to need some help from guys like Ryan.
Yeah, and he will. And did not see that coming. If you would have told me a couple of years ago that Ryan was going to be a factor in our coaching staff, but it's crazy how things work.
So being the 7th grade junior high 80, there's a 7th grader that was in that football game that weighs about 260 already. You've been looking at him already?
I told them all they need to sign up for wrestling, or I'm giving them all a detention.
There you go.
At least
that's the easiest way to do it.
I lost his name. It starts with an H. It's a Hackin something. Big kid.
You're thinking William.
Okay, William.
Yeah. I know.
He's a big kid. What's his name?
Buckner.
William Buckner. There it is. Yeah. He's a house for a 7th grader.
Sure he is. But that whole group, a bunch of tough kids.
They're good athletes on that.
Yeah,
that was a great. That was very fun to cover that game.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for doing that too. Yeah. That was really neat.
And then, of course, at 285, another weak spot for the Braves, right?
Another Fargo guy.
He's a hammer.
Yeah, I know. And again, he made that trip out west, and simply being there gets you so much better. You're just around all these, national studs, and when you're there, you realize, you know what, I am pretty dang good if I'm out here, and simply having that is you can't replace that. So I can't wait for Grady.
Well, I think
leader.
There's a lot of people who can't wait to see Grady step onto the mat against some of those guys that maybe he was toe-to-toe with or a little bit behind a year or two ago, and to see him mature and get ready for this year. He's going to be one of the must-listen-tos when we go forward this season. Well, we're going to play a quick round of commercials, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about some of the focuses this year for you as a coaching staff. Be right back after this.
'Twas the season for giving, and throughout the community, neighbors shopped local with remarkable unity. They found clothes and toys that make children glad, sparkling jewelry for mom, electronics for dad. Why, everything you need to spread holiday cheer is all readily available right now and right here. This reminder to shop local for all your heart yearns comes with Merry Christmas wishes from First Bank of Bird.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable, and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season. Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Welcome back once again to the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. And Mr. Bowers is in the house tonight with Bowers Paint and Body.
Yeah, we certainly thank him for his support, not only of our coverage of this show, but also for high school wrestling and for high school football. And once again, join us on Friday for a doubleheader, really a triple header. I'll be at Wawasee for wrestling. You'll be up at Andrean for football, and Dave Nathan will be at
Thank you very much again, Dane.
South Adams for. That's going to be a fun one. Are you going to be all by yourself?
Yeah, last year they put us in a visiting team press box, which is it was a dump, like a shed behind your house.
Now, one thing that I did know as I was writing my review article of Saturdays or on Saturday from Friday's game is that Andrean's only loss is to Maryville, who are 5A, and they are, of course, neighbors, and Maryville are still alive, and Maryville will be at home. So Andrean and Maryville are going to be playing at the same time. They're like, I don't know, 1,000 feet from each other.
Or 2 blocks.
Something ridiculous, and that may be a traffic jam. Of course, nobody will be arriving as early as you, so that won't be quite a problem. Well, once again, we're joined by Coach Tim Myers of the Belmont Braves, and Coach, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the focuses that you have. I know in past years you've talked a little bit more about the mental side, about the mindset side, but I'm not sure we've ever really talked about it on this show. Why don't you run through what you work with your boys as far as sort of the creed of being a Belmont wrestler and what they need to recite to get their mind in the right spot?
Well, mindset training is a big thing right now in all sports. But it's not just a cookie cutter, one size fits all for everybody. You have to look at your clientele, who you're working with, and see what they need most of all. When you coach at Belmont, what you have is you have a lot of kids to where this sport means a whole lot to them. And just starting, you realize this can be a lot on a kid. It can be a lot on an adult, let alone when you get, in the Coliseum with all the fans and everything and ticket round match. I mean, there's we've talked in the past. There's been times where we have lost big matches like that, and we say, well, was it because of technique? No. Was it because of strength? No. Was it because of our lungs? No. If we've ever lost, it was because typically it meant too much to the kid that they didn't let it flow.
And actually, Coach Richardson earlier in the show was talking about, I asked him about expectations and the mental side of things, and he said, at Roncalli, you're expected to win. And some of those boys that he thinks are going to come in and have a good season, they come off a crushing loss in football, and they have a hard time recovering from it.
Sure. And again, I mean, there's pressure in all sports. But like I said, when you have something steeped in history like our program, these kids they're not just nervous about it at practice. And they go to Grandma's house, and Grandma's asking them, "Are you nervous for your match next week?" It's like, "Grandma, we can't talk like that anymore. You're just creating a bigger monster to deal with." And so our mindset training is focusing a whole lot on just why you get in sports in the first place as a little boy. It's because they're fun and you like being with friends, and that is a lot of our focus. I don't need to tell our kids to get serious. I really don't. That's maybe in the handball game, but after they play handball, it's on, and they know it, and that's one of the neat things about coaching here. I don't have to refocus ever. If I'm coaching here on the other side of the room, I know our kids are going to be doing what they should be doing. If they're talking, it's talking about their technique. So again, our mindset training is a whole lot of focus on that, in that just, this isn't the end of the world if you don't win this match. Sun will come up tomorrow. Mom, Dad's still going to love you. But it's enjoying it. And when you can truly enjoy what you love, you can be a very dangerous wrestler.
You have to remember, though, the tradition, that grandma could be the Daisy Hurst or the Mrs. Strickler's, those ladies that are well in their 70s, 80s. Back in my day, we had ladies in their late 80s that were Belmont diehard fans, and they knew more about wrestling than most people that any other match that came around. And, that tradition, Dane and I go to a lot of schools, and we see a lot of different displays. I think that corner you have where they walk up to the restroom is one of the best.
Yeah. And, they anytime they come out for a home meet, they have to stare at that.
Oh, yeah.
And they know this is something bigger than all of them, bigger than all of us.
Well, we want to remind our listeners that we're just 2 minutes away from switching over on 92.7 FM to the pregame for Purdue basketball. You can switch over to YouTube. We're going to continue our conversation here for just a few extra minutes with Coach Myers, and, of course, you can always go back and listen to it on YouTube. I did want to talk a little bit about your focus this year. Is it on your feet? Is it on the mat? Is it in the last 10 seconds? Is there anything specifically you guys are looking at last year? Okay, we should have been better at this, so let's make it our focus this year.
Yeah, we have a big focus on mat wrestling. Make no bones about it. We have a volunteer coach in Wade McClure this year, and I'm so thrilled to have him. Our kids know him well. He runs the RTC at Indiana Tech, so as a side note, wrestling can be a complicated thing for kids because they will go to this regional training center, that regional training center, this camp, that camp. And honestly, some people think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing because they get confused.
Everybody's telling them something different.
Yes, and you get people that aren't talking the same language, and it took a while to make sure that Wade and us talk the same language. And he grew up at Beech Grove High School. He was coached by Greg Schaefer. That was before Greg went to Mater Dei. And I did my homework on Wade through Greg to make sure that Wade was going to be a great fit, and he is. He really is. To be just consumed by mat wrestling every day of his life, he's giving back to our program, and it's neat that it's working both ways. So I can't wait. I mean, yes, Belmont is known for being on our feet, but we've also lost some matches because the mat wrestling hasn't picked up, nearly as well as what our feet has. So to have him in here, I'm thrilled. I really am.
That's no different than having your junior high coaches be on the same page you are as well. I mean,
right.
Anybody you bring into the room, you want from top to bottom down to the youngest wrestlers all understanding the system.
Yeah. Again, when you get to the state finals, everybody's good on their feet, but you make your money on the mat.
Yeah.
Now, you've already mentioned, my next question's already kind of answered. You already mentioned Ryan Fawbush really joining you as a true coach and bringing in Wade McClure. Any other changes to your coaching staff this year?
Well, heck, we got everybody coming in, wrestling with the big guys. Fletcher's still up there. Carter Freet comes up once in a while. My brother has been coming up. I think we kind of 8 coaches up there the other day. And you better believe that that's an emphasis to our kids. Like, listen, if something's not going right, just look over your shoulder. Someone's going to be right there to help you. And same thing. We're all talking the same, and I'm excited. It's a bunch of guys that are there for the kids, but they also love the sport.
Last question then. We discussed earlier in the show that Andrea Hernandez had given a report to North Adams and that the school board approved girls wrestling for next year. Tell us what you know about that situation and what wrestling fans here in Decatur can look forward to.
Well, yeah, we presented to the school board last Tuesday, and I said, I will admit it. I'm embarrassed about it. It took a long time for those girls to win me. I can be a little stubborn.
Really?
People have said that once in a while.
Oh.
But I did not think when they started in junior high that their intentions were the best. I really didn't. And it was just like, what are they doing? They're just trying to be around boys and blah, blah, blah. But very long story short, they won me over. And we know the story about those two girls. They were something special. And there's a need for that. There's an absolute need for that in our community. And to have somebody like Andrea, if we can make something like that work, she is going to change kids' lives. And and she's going to make them hammers too.
You know, if you're talking, girls wrestling is number one fastest growing sport in the nation. Dane talked about a middle school tournament, 200 girls at.
Yeah.
How can you not be part of that? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, people look – in the beginning, we looked at some of the high school teams where girls' teams were predominantly stronger as girls and their boys' teams were not as good. Now we're seeing the good boys' teams, girls' teams also line up with that. I think it's kind of balanced out because there were some pockets of girls' teams that were actually better than the boys' teams, and the boys' teams like, we need to adjust that. And then vice versa, the good wrestling boys' teams have really promoted their girls' teams now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be happy to do so. I think it will be a win-win for us. Again, I said that at the school board meeting, that it's just going to be even more people in our community talking about wrestling. Lord knows there's a ton already, but now there's going to be more, and I think it's a great thing for Belmont.
And if you were not at the girls' state finals at the Indiana Fairgrounds last year, you would not believe the caliber of wrestling we saw then to 5 years ago when we were seeing some of the first state tournament. It is night and day with the technical level of those girls.
Well, and Andrea, you know, she's been at Indiana Tech now, so you're not bringing in a girl who just did it in high school. She was good then. She's great now, and when she can coach that, look out.
Very, very cool. A great example of what the Belmont Wrestling Program has, the effect that it's had on a young person in our community in the last decade.
Yes.
And really changed her life. And like you said, she's going to pay it forward 100-fold in the next few years.
Absolutely.
So, well, very good. Well, Coach, we thank you for joining us. We're really looking forward to the start of the season. Really excited about Friday's broadcast at Wawasee. And, of course, we'll be at Snyder. Is that correct? No.
Yeah, our schedule,
Yes.
You know, Yorktown's home now too.
Yes.
And the duels are at New Haven.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes in the last couple of weeks, but
Tell me about it.
I am excited to let all of our listeners know that there is not an event on your schedule that WZBD is not going to be broadcasting at least a portion of the day or one of the 2 days or something like that. Everywhere you guys go, this radio station is going to be there.
Awesome.
So we're
Appreciate
really
you
excited
guys.
about that.
And you make sure you tell your fans that YouTube is just another extension of us, and it is great because, like our show tonight, you can go back and listen to that anytime you want. You don't have to wait for the podcast to get uploaded 2 days from now. So
Okay. I appreciate you guys. Really do.
with that, that's another episode in the books for the High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille.